As part of our discussion on introduction to India's foreign policy, now I would like to discuss a specific topic, that is the evolution of India's foreign policy in the last 70 years, since independence or since 1946, since the first speech given by Prime Minister Nehru in 1946 through his broadcast to the nation through All India Radio. How India's foreign policy has evolved. Is there any change, or are we moving away from the Nehruvian principles, or what are the stages in which it has happened? So, first of all, if you look at the Nehruvian era, in fact, we can divide this into say 3 phases, we can say, that is from 1946 to 1964, the Nehruvian era. And then during the time of Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi till 1990 or till economic liberalization. So, second phase can be till economic liberalization of 1991, till economic liberalization of 1991, and then the post liberalized phase, the present phase is since 1991 till today, what we can say can be the third phase. So, I would like to look into this evolution of the foreign policy right from the Nehruvian time to the present time. So, that is the focus right now in this discussion. And please remember, the Nehruvian era, Nehru was an idealist. He was a person with a lot of dreams, and he used to always perceive things he was a visionary. And India has seen only, I personally feel that we had seen only one visionary leader in our Indian history till now. I mean, Indian modern history after independence, among all the leaders, Nehru was a visionary, because credit should be given for creating a country from nothing. When nothing was there, when there was no system was there was no government, there was no parliament, there was no judiciary, when there was nothing, we created and India was never together before. More than 500 princely states, Britishers ruled for their benefit, some British Indian provinces were there. And we created, and the concept of India was created and it was implemented. People had ideas about India, but Bharat was there, but it was never implemented on ground. We united all these different ideologies and ideas, different cultures, hundreds of different, thousands of different cultures, hundreds of different languages, different religions. So, such a multicultural, dimensional society, diverse society, we could unite together as one country, and we are creating that nationalism, the concept of the feeling of oneness, the togetherness we could create, the national feeling we could inject. This was because of the initial days and the initial policies of our government, that broad-minded, all-inclusive policy. We wanted to include everybody. We did not want to exclude anyone. That inclusive policy made India possible today. Today we can boast about India because somebody's sweat and blood is involved in it. Those leaders, the freedom fighters and the initial leaders have given their life for this unification. They had no vested interest. That is why we have created. So, Nehru was an ideal leader. So, Nehru followed the initial phase is the idealistic phase. Idealistic phase. We just came out of the Second World War and the anti-colonial movement, the freedom movement, and these leaders sacrificed a lot, and they had a lot of ideals about an India, what kind of India should be, what kind of freedom should be there, the justice, equality, fraternity, everything they wanted. So, an idealistic foreign policy was there. So, during this phase or till Nehru's death, we followed idealism, and the idealism in foreign policy means, we will come to that elaborately. Idealism in foreign policy means whatever you want to achieve as your domestic objective. So, idealism in foreign policy as a nation state, whatever its internal political philosophy, the same internal political philosophy is the goal of its external affairs also. So, example, if our internal political philosophy is democracy, then we will be pursuing democracy across the globe. We would like to have the institutions across the globe democratic, the countries across the globe democratic. Similarly, if our internal political philosophy is human rights, to promote human rights and democracy, we would like to promote human rights and democracy across the globe. Whatever be the internal political philosophy, the same thing we would like to pursue it as the external policy also. So, Nehru followed idealism. And Nehruvian philosophy was idealistic. We wanted to create, he wanted to speak on behalf of the third world countries, on behalf of the decolonized countries. See, for example, when military rule, when military captured power in Myanmar, in Burma, immediately in 1962, Nehru snapped diplomatic relations with Myanmar, saying that our policy is democracy and we cannot have a good relationship with a military ruler. So, whatever be our internal political philosophy, we wanted to promote that as our external policy also. So, Nehru's phase till 1964, we followed idealism as our foreign policy philosophy. Then came the second phase, that is the time of 1964, Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi till 1991. So, we slowly started moving away from idealism. This is a time of some realism. So, now the philosophy, slowly we are moving to realism. Realism means the real politic. Philosophy is one thing, the principles are one thing, but what benefits the country right now? Our national interest is the primary thing. We are focusing only on what is beneficial at that time. So, that is more about realism. And during this time, Indira Gandhi's time, especially in 1971, the first major change took place in. So, first of all, we can say in 1970, we refused to sign NPT. That itself is, we said, disarmament, but we did not agree to join NPT, saying that NPT is a discriminatory treaty. 71, we signed the India-USSR Friendship Treaty. So, this is something which has completely moved away from our non-aligned principle. Our non-alignment, we started by saying that we want to keep away from the bloc politics. We will engage both, but we will not be moving closer to anyone. So, in 1971, during the just before the Bangladesh war, in 1971 August, we signed the Indo-USSR, India-USSR Friendship Treaty, definitely a step away from the non-alignment. 1974, we conducted our nuclear test, again a step away from nuclear disarmament. Yes, we can always say still we want nuclear disarmament, but at the same time, don't forget, if nuclear disarmament is our golden rule, then we would not have been conducting a nuclear test. We conducted the nuclear test in 1974. And also during this phase, in fact, during 70s and 80s, three dominant themes in our foreign policy, that was environment, then disarmament and development. So, three dominant themes of 1970s and the middle phase, 70s and 80s in our foreign policy, because the Stockholm Summit of 1972 took place. The Environment Summit took place in the Stockholm, and Indira Gandhi participated in that. And her famous speech at that time, she said, poverty, you cannot talk, poverty is a major concern. She said, are not poverty and need the greatest polluter? So, she asked this question. The question raised by Indira Gandhi was that, are not poverty and need the greatest polluters? So, it was even today, when we talk about sustainable development, this particular issue of the right for development and the problems of the developing world, the poverty issue comes up in a big way. So, poverty, then disarmament, already I said, when India was under tremendous pressure to sign NPT, but we conducted the nuclear test instead, and we withstood the pressure from the rest of the world. And of course, the issues of the trickle down hypothesis of Nehru, the trickle down, the benefit should trickle down to the lower, to the poor. That did not happen, and the the differences between the haves and the have-nots, the rich and the poor, the gap between the rich and the poor, it was increasing in India. By 1970s, it became more, more clear. and Indira Gandhi and the policy, the foreign policy had to deal with the issues of development also. So please remember three aspects of our, or through three major themes of foreign policy at that time, that is environment, disarmament and development. And in the process, because of the realpolitik, we started slowly moving away from idealism to some sort of realism. So it's not fully, idealistic principles were still there, but we started diluting the idealistic principles, we can say. Then post 1991, we are more, so we are talking about the post 1991 evolution. We are saying that this is a phase when Indian foreign policy is more realistic and less ideal, or less idealism in our foreign policy today. There are many instances where we have moved away completely from our idealistic principles. We have abandoned Palestine. We were the biggest supporters of the Palestine movement. The Palestinians are undergoing an injustice, especially after 1967. The entire Palestinian territory has been captured by Israel. Today we are moving closer to Israel only because we are getting more technology, we are getting agriculture technology, drought related agriculture technology. So, but the fact of the matter is, we may be getting some peanuts, some economic benefits, we may be getting some technology, we may be helping Israeli technology for surveillance and all in the cross-border terrorism, yes, but at the same time, please don't forget, we have almost literally abandoned the Palestinian cause. So that is realism in our even our attack on Balakot after the terrorist attack in the last year, in fact in 2019. See, this attack was not a policy. See, we always believed in peaceful coexistence. We always talked about peaceful coexistence even with Pakistan. We never threatened Pakistan in our history till recently. So our policy was always restrained, applying restraint despite provocation from Pakistan. But we have broke that principle and we have attacked Pakistan in Balakot, for example. So again, moving away from our established policy of that, passive foreign policy objectives, we have just moved away and we have attacked. And we re-established diplomatic relations with Myanmar, even when the military rule continued. And because again, to counter China, we abandoned our idealistic policy and become more realistic, and following realism, we decided to re-establish our relationship with Myanmar. Similarly, the case with Sri Lanka. We were insisting on the justice to the Sri Lankan Tamils. But unfortunately, because of the Chinese influence in the region, we have compromised on that. So there are many, and not only that, we have moved away from our non-alignment itself by having military strategic partnership with the US. We have, especially after the collapse of the Soviet Union, after the end of the Cold War, we have moved closer to the US. So moving closer to US, moving closer to USA, signing strategic partnership with the USA, strategic partnership with USA, normalizing relationship with Myanmar, improving our relationship with Israel, abandoning Palestine. So these are all instances of our realism in our foreign policy, realistic politics, or rather, the realpolitik, where philosophy and principles can wait. What is immediately important, we are more concerned about that. So definitely what we can say is that in our evolution of our foreign policy, what was during Nehru's time, it was idealism. We pursued idealism in our foreign policy. During Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi's time, slowly we moved away from idealism, but we can say there was some balance between idealism and realism. Still we pursued non-aligned movement. Still we fought against apartheid in South Africa. Rajiv Gandhi was in the forefront of fighting against the racialism and racial discrimination in South Africa. Today we have almost completely abandoned non-aligned movement. Prime Minister Modi did not even go for the non-aligned summit in the last couple of times. So that clearly shows that we more realistic. So we are more interested in BRICS. We are more interested in ASEAN, not interested in NAM. We are not interested in SAARC. So our foreign policy objectives are more realistic in nature today. What is the national? We are only concerned about the national interest in the sense we are concerned about what is beneficial for India is more concerning us right now and nothing else. So there is a shift from idealism to more realism in our foreign policy, and with economic growth, with increasing stature of India in the real world, India can afford, today to pursue more idealism, but we have slightly moved away from idealism to more realism. Unfortunately, I would like to use that term unfortunately here. So see, the principles and idealism, these are all evergreen principles. It will fetch good results in future. Immediate results may not be there, but yes. So if you are asked about the evolution of our Indian foreign policy, yes, I would like to say that it has evolved from idealism to more realism right now, less idealism and more realism right now. That is our situation. So that's about this idealism or evolution of our Indian foreign policy in the last 70 years.